And yet another IJDM video. Yeah, we're doing a full salvo here this last week or so. Today we are talking about this box. I kind of been covering the Livestream Vimeo thing with the Mevo cameras and different things. I kind of introduced these in another video, which you can check out, and I'll have a link to it in the end. With these cameras, which are very cool, but if you're running the full software, the studio software that Livestream Vimeo offers, and can afford it because it is quite pricey, then this could be something you may be interested in. I'm not really sure on its capabilities in modern terms because the boxes are old, but they've kept up pretty good with the firmware. And this video is more directing toward a fix on this. This is more of a fix restore video than anything. So let's just run through it. You got your display right here on the front, which is a nice display. And then the buttons, which are kind of hodgepodgey. They're not really, I know they came out with different units. These things just don't feel like they're going to stay on. And I know sometimes they're missing, but you can still use them. And then on the back side, you have HDMI, you have an audio import, you have which is key to this video, you have a USB, and I hate to give this away because really this is kind of one of those things I can't really explain right now. There's a reset switch, and yes, that's a reset switch. And then power, external power, and then if you want to hook it up to true Ethernet and that. And some of the later units, a lot of these ports disappeared because they're going more toward wireless. And then your power switch, and we just turn that on, and oh, while it's booting up, and you can see the little light there, it has a little thing in its roof comes off. Well, like a George Carlin comedy special.
In the unlikely event of a sudden change in cabin pressure, roof flies off.
The roof flies off. Well, yes, it does. And stores 3 batteries, which totally is inadequate for a streaming thing. 'Cause from what I can see, these are industrial Energizer batteries, and it didn't seem to last that long on one of my tests I did on these videos. Well, I didn't do the video, but I did record one, but I wasn't happy with it. And the biggest thing you can see in some of these things, and you just saw it where just say it was starting, that's where basically this unit was at the time of me purchasing it. It just was stuck on starting. It just did not want to start. So of course I did the I turned it on, did the 15-second reset on the pin unit here on the back, and nothing. It would just say starting, and I figured, well, I just bought a nice little brick that would fit nicely into maybe a Lego house. I don't know, whatever. So moving on, the correction for that was I contacted the company and I was nice to them about it and saying, hey, this unit doesn't work. And I said, possibly maybe a firmware thing, maybe it can't connect, maybe it's on like a first generation firmware and it can't do what it needs to do to whatever. Or something got maybe corrupted. But Vimeo was nice enough to send me the software and say, okay, this is what you do. You take it and you put it on a USB stick. So we're gonna swing this camera around right over here, and 2 files, and I got these 2 files and then did the instructions and just put them on a USB stick and good to go. And then yeah, it's software version 1.23.
That's the stupidest combination I ever heard in my life. That's the kind of thing an idiot would have on his luggage. Thank you, Your Highness.
What I did is I put it on this USB stick and just draw it in the back here and then just turn it on. And we'll just see what exactly is going to happen here. And it's not going to update because I already did it, but you'll get the drive of it right away, what it's doing. And yeah, it still has the Livestream logo, even though Livestream was bought out by Vimeo. They're still running. To me, it was the biggest mistake of any company because Livestream was so strong and Vimeo was just kind of that thing. It was 2 different things, and I feel like they should have kind of put them together, but kept more of the Livestream name. It had more of a power with professional and commercial use than it does. As you can see, it says preparing USB software and it's doing its thing. But if you're stuck on that starting thing, this is your fix right here, people. yeah, you just need to get a hold of that, and it is available on the internet. I mean, you can find the file, but I got it directly from them, and I didn't trust anything else, so they were nice enough to send it to me and say, hey, I just, you know, put this on a USB, this is how you do it, and then bam, and yeah, it's running, and it's actually booting up right now. It's ignoring the stick because the software was already up to date. Maybe that screen, I missed it while I was chatting on and on and on. So what does this do? Well, it does something interesting, and well, for now I'm gonna turn it off and go more into it. Is the idea is if you have a live stream situation, you can, rather than running wires, is just despite this being a streaming box which streams to live stream and you have the expensive box, it does have an alternative purpose if you have the live stream software through Vimeo now. And what it allows for is it allows you to basically mount your camera, and there's a little mount on the bottom if you have the right kind of mount to put on the top of your camera. And I'd suggest maybe a better power situation here, but what it allows you to do is mount it on top of your camera. I wish I had a camera here right now, but I honestly don't have any cameras that do HDMI out. You'd think the GoPro would, but it requires a $50 or $60 attachment now to do that. But basically you wire into here and it becomes a wireless camera that Livestream Vimeo Studio software recognizes if you're running it on Windows or Mac. And as far as the software goes, yeah, it does run a lot better on Windows than it does Mac for some reason I'm not fully aware of. The older software ran fine, but I've noticed with the modern versions, not so great. But in a nutshell, that is this unit. And basically, yeah, if there's a demand for it and I get enough comments, if somebody wants to see this thing working with on a cam and going into and transmitting to the actual software, which is a switching software like I've showed in other videos, then I'll go ahead and do that. But for now, I just want to leave it at that's how you fix it. I mean, you stick the USB key fob in, power it on, it'll say firmware updating. Once it's done, it connects again and it's fine. And these units can sell on auction sites for up to, and I've seen them on the internet listed in various places, mainly auction sites now, upwards of probably anywhere from $100 to $500. No kidding there. And I got this one, I spent right around $100 on it, but, and I'm saying that in a certain way because maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but right around $100, and it said it was stuck on starting. And honestly, this unit is in pristine condition. I mean, there's no scratches. The stuff is known to get sticky. They put this rubbery stuff on. I wish companies stop doing that, please, because IBM does the same thing with their laptops. Stop putting this sticky, grippy material on. It doesn't do anybody any good. But in a nutshell, and this is the, if anybody wants to know before I cut off, this is the LS1, I believe is the model number. It's the first generation model. The next one came out was the Pro, and then they had a mini version, which I think it was just little dots. They didn't even actually have this cool, like, liquid fluorescent screen, or I think they called it an OLED screen, but I don't know if it's really that or not. But yeah, it's brilliant, and you can see it just good. But one thing is thinking maybe this runs the battery down faster than it should on those 3 AA's that are in there. But I guess the idea is you could ring up some kind of, you know, situation with a battery pack or whatever via this port, because it does tell you exactly what it needs. And I do have a power adapter, as I said I was cutting off, that I found that matches it pretty good and runs it actually just fine. It actually runs better off the battery, this power pack, than anything. But and I'm sure I could rig up some kind of wireless thing, which again, if there's demand, we'll do another video on this and move forward with it. And the idea is that the Mevo cameras are great and things you can connect, but if you want to do this all wirelessly and you have a situation where you can't run wires, then this becomes a thing where if you want a zoom camera or have a camera operator, where this thing comes into its element. And that's kind of what this is all about. That's it for now. This video is about 5 minutes longer than I intended, but I just want to make sure I covered this unit in the best way possible, because it is a very interesting piece of technology and it is definitely still very cool. And there you can see on the screen there, it says studio waiting. So if I fired up the software right now, it would recognize this unit as a camera source. So very cool. That's it for now. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw. There's plenty of other videos if you didn't like what you saw, but we'll see you next time.